On Saturday, hundreds of people gathered at the Capitol building in Madison, Wisconsin. About 100 Trump supporters rallied holding signs saying Women for Trump, Trump 2020, and the Blue American flag in support of police. The two sides faced off in the street with Biden supporters beeping and giving Trump supporters holding the American flag a thumbs down. A Trump supporter, Jean Eckers, said people have every right to be suspicious of the integrity of the voting system. She says the increased use of mail-in voting allows for the possibility of fraud.
Oh, really sad and frightened. I didn't think it could happen here, and it really does frighten me. I just can't believe it, really, that when I see what's going on with what I think is fraud in our elections, if we can't trust the elections in the United States, I feel like we're in a lot of these socialist, communist countries, and I just hate to see with, the United States coming anywhere close to that, and I really fear for our country.
Closer to the building itself, members of the Asian American GOP coalition voiced their concerns.
I came from China. I do not want this place turning to China.
The group joined in prayer to ask for guidance, wisdom, and strength in the weeks and months ahead.
Heavenly Father, you brought us here on this stage on this day for a reason. We know that ultimately you are in control. You have a perfect plan for all of us. You have a perfect plan for our nation. So please be with us. Be with us in our angst and our concern and all that we're going through in this uncertain time. Be with President Trump, Vice President Pence.
And Biden supporters cheered from the steps of the Capitol, with one man dancing through a Honda's moonroof while waving a Biden-Harris sign. Eckers calls on Americans to pray for the country.
I think we need to all pray for the United States. I have a real faith in God, and I really do believe that good will triumph over evil. And I really do think that there's some evil right now in our government. And it scares me, and I really think everybody needs to start praying a little bit more. I think we've got to get more morality back into our world and just some more goodness into our world. So I guess the last thing I would say is please pray for our country.
In Carson City, Nevada, dozens of Trump supporters came out to express outrage over the voting system in this presidential election. Trump supporters and Republicans across the country say there's been voter fraud and it's systematic. One attendee traveled from California to be there. He says he hasn't seen this much activism in the 40 years he's been involved in politics, and that there's still hope.
I've never seen the coalition that I see here right now. I've been to over 10 rallies all through the state of California. I've marched across the Golden Gate Bridge with homosexuals, with African Americans, with Hispanic Americans, with Asian Americans. I've walked with every walk of life. And it is so inspirational to see Americans get together like this.
Another Trump supporter, who's Chinese American, took the mic to say a few words on how calling herself American promotes unity.
We still have a lot of things to do because people using the name that calling to segregate the Chinese community, saying that if you say someone is saying Chinese virus, that means we're being discriminated. But that's not true. We're trying to tell each other we don't get labeled by China. We are no longer Chinese. We came to this country to seek a new reality, and this is where we are.
During the rally, a Trump supporter named Jim Groth read out President Lincoln's famous Gettysburg Address and then went on to give his own speech. He said during his speech that if the Biden campaign plans what he calls an illegitimate takeover, they should hold a new vote from January 5th to January 9th. He also said the new vote should be held in person, rather than by mail. Mail-in voting has been suspected of increasing the likelihood of fraud.
The fight to protect the vote is hard. I have two of my sons that have done 6 combat tours in the Middle East in the last 12 years. My uncle was a ball turret gunner on a B-17 bomber in World War II and flew not the required 30 missions, but 35 missions over Germany in World War II as a ball turret gunner. You know what? That was hard. That was hard. We should be able to stop the Twinkie on the couch generation, get off our butts and go vote and have it require some effort.
Trump supporters in Long Island, New York, drove their cars down the street one after the other, waving flags and honking their horns. Others stood to the side, holding banners. Their turnout was part of something called Stop the Steal, a movement started by conservatives to protest the alleged voter fraud in the 2020 election.
Supposedly there was some error with the ballots. Let's wait and see. And whoever's the man or whoever team won is fine with that, okay? But there's a lot of corruption going on, and the American people are tired of it because Joe was hiding in his basement, okay? And he never had rallies like Trump did. And now you're saying that he won? How could that be? The American people are not stupid.
Another Trump supporter said that they have to fight for the future of the children.
The children are the ones that are going to be affected by this. We unfortunately have to stand by and suck it up, but this is not fair to them.
Trump has refused to concede and promised to start prosecuting starting Monday, November 9th.
We want to count?
Trump supporters came to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania over the weekend in support of a fair election and the re-election of President Trump. While a number of protesters were saying they were there to stop the election from being stolen, others said it's not so much about the outcome. Rather, it's about snuffing out any potential corruption and doing the right thing.
I'm here to support our president, litigate as much as he can to find the truth. Not to win. No. If he fights and everything is proven that he's wrong, guess what? You lost. But then again, there's 2024.
So I'm here because I want to see I want to see an election that has integrity. I want all the votes to be counted, all the legal votes, not just random votes that popped up overnight. And I'm here because it's the right thing to do.
No, I'm not about any certain outcome of the election. I want the Constitution to be upheld, what's written in our Constitution, because without that we have no laws. More people need to have this mentality, this state of mind. If they did, I think we would really make some progress.
Philadelphia specifically has been shrouded in controversy. According to testimonies from ballot counting observers and video taken by our sister media, the Epoch Times, election ballots were counted in areas where observers could not inspect them properly.
The fraud has to be investigated. If it's there, it'll come out and it'll be for everyone to see. But a city clerk coming out saying that they counted ballots and there's 6,000 ballots off from the machine, somebody programmed that machine, and this isn't a little guy. This is big.
I found it very weird how the election just they stopped counting. They stopped counting the votes right when it seemed like Trump was winning, and I stayed up well into the morning, and I found at 4 a.m. there was like 150,000 ballots that went exclusively to Joe Biden. Now, my mom has a friend who's an auditor, and she said that's statistically impossible. Even New York's bluest districts have votes that go something like 20% to Trump or something like that.
And all of a sudden, those 100% count for Biden. Like the con is on, and the American people they're awake to it. So
they're referring to a situation that happened around 5 a.m. when data from Decision Desk headquarters updated the vote count, adding more than 130,000 votes to Biden and not one to Trump.
Marion and Jim Belanger are from Beverly Hills. They say they're not happy with the nation's alleged ballot fraud, and the legacy media's decision to broadcast Biden as the winner while vote count issues remain unresolved.
Well, we don't have any mainstream media. We have state-run TV, and many of the news places are just Biden cronies and the Democratic machine.
More and more citizens across the nation are now coming out to demand transparency in ballot counting.
We want every legal vote to be counted. And so we're just out here to support our community and other people that want it to be truly fair, not pushed through, not fake, pushed through, and with transparency. All the Democrats want transparency all the time about everything, but not about this. It doesn't make any sense.
One rally-goer pointed out that the American desire for a fair election isn't a partisan issue. Instead, one that's essential to democracy on both sides of the aisle.
You don't look as a Democrat, you don't look as a Republican, but you look as an American that wants your vote to actually count. Why wouldn't you want to people to poll watch, both Democrat and Republican. Why wouldn't you want that? You want to have transparency, and that hasn't happened at all. It's shattered all of people's trust in the whole system, and it's unfortunate.
Still, others proposed ideas for next steps.
And try to fix something that was done when no witnesses to watch. I think there should be another election, in those states with some sort of a foolproof, ballots, some way where there's nobody could cheat.